Hello, everybody, and good afternoon, and welcome to the new school year. Thank you all so much for joining us for our very first TeachMeet of the 2024-25 school year, but also for a really exciting one with us because we are introducing our brand new scheme, Lightning Languages, which is something that we've been waiting to do for some time. So I've got lots of my team members with me here today because we're all really excited and proud about this scheme. So I wanted to introduce you to some of them to give you a chance to find out more about the scheme and hopefully to ask some questions to let you know more about steps that are coming next, what's going to happen, what you can expect to see from the scheme, and what support you can get from us at Twinkl with that scheme. So firstly, a massive thank you for joining us, and thank you for showing an interest in our scheme. We very much hope that it's a scheme that will be of interest to you however you're choosing to work within primary languages, whether it's something that you've already used, Planet languages, and you're looking to kind of move across from that, whether you already use your own resources or an existing scheme and you're looking to build upon that with additional resources, or you're planning ahead for next year, whatever those circumstances, we're here to support you with that, and we really look forward to sharing everything with you. So the first thing I'm going to do is just share in the chat a link to Lightning Languages in case you haven't got that, just to get you there to the landing page, because that's the most important thing. But, you know, firstly, as I said, I'm really excited to share with you our new scheme, Lightning Languages. And I just want to give you, before we go any further, really, just a bit of an introduction as to what it is and why it exists and why it comes. So Lightning Languages is based around the concept that we've always found that lesson time is really pressured at primary school. We really know how under pressure you are as primary teachers to deliver languages within your packed timetables. And we also know that the vast majority of teachers are not language experts, which means that delivering a language becomes even more of an uphill struggle because you're battling for time, and you're battling for time for something that isn't your area of expertise. We've taken all of this into account with Lightning Languages. We've done an awful lot of research into pedagogy, into teachers' needs, and also into different curricula across the UK and Ireland. So taking into account different approaches from Wales, Scotland and Ireland, as well as England, to factor that into the pedagogy behind the scheme to really help us put together the most comprehensive, modular and flexible scheme that we were able to put together, really. And we felt very strongly that we wanted a scheme that anybody could just launch and deliver, that you don't need to be an expert. If you are an expert, that's fantastic. You can still run with it and take it a step ahead. If you're not, we don't want you to have to spend hours with a planning guide working out, okay, slide 2, I've got to press this and do this. You can look at the teacher guide alongside it, but you don't have to. You can deliver the lesson and launch it as it is and go from there. That's perhaps the most exciting thing about Lightning Languages, is how easy to use it is, as well as, frankly, the visuals, which we are all absolutely delighted with because it's a really exciting looking scheme and it looks really wonderful. You know, what we really want to do is to empower teachers to deliver this scheme. So, you know, what I go through in this session is to give you a chance to meet the team, to have a chance to kind of see some of the faces from the languages team, to discover a bit more about Lightning Languages. We can give you an intro to what it is and exactly what you can expect from the scheme, how the units broken down into liftoff and in orbit, which are the main progressive units, how to use the scheme in general, how to put it together. So if you actually wanted to build a curriculum, how would you do that? Lightning Languages Sparks, which is our under 7 scheme, how that slots in and how you can use that, a little bit about our engaging characters, and then just a chat about the CPD that we've got coming up next, and how we can support you if you choose to start implementing Lightning Languages. But the first thing that I want to do is to introduce you to some of our team members who have very kindly come along this afternoon to meet you. So for those of you who've attended many of our TeachMeets last year, you will have heard my voice many times. So I'm Bethan and I'm the content lead for languages at Twinkl. And alongside me, so my team members will give you a wave as we're going along here. I've got my team leader, Susan, who, Susan's asked, gives a wave. Susan is absolutely critical to the running of Lightning Languages because she helps me actually get it out there and ready for you. So Susan's a really experienced primary school teacher. She's worked for many years as an editor at Twinkl. She's taught languages to her classes, and she very much knows the pressure of fitting it in within timeframes. So she's someone who's been really instrumental and helpful with the actual accessibility of the scheme and how we make that. I've then got Maz, who's here as well. So you will have met Maz, those of you who've come to many of our Teach Meets. She's spoken about transition. She's spoken about Ofsted and deep dives. Maz is somebody who brings an enormous wealth of pedagogical expertise to the team, with expertise as an assistant head, as well as subject leads, not only in languages, but in other subjects. Maz completely understands the primary school curriculum, problems in juggling it, and how to support teachers with that. So she has been an absolute driving force behind the real educational value and pedagogy of the team, of the scheme, and making sure it makes sense and that it's usable and that it fits what you need as primary teachers. I've then got Lindsay, who's here as well. So Lindsay is another one of the teachers on our team, and Lindsay is our Year 6 transition expert, as she's a current secondary teacher and examiner, is really well versed in the expectations of what is needed from a Year 6 moving into Year 7, and has really helped us make sure that that scheme is going to prepare your children for secondary learning. So that's been absolutely critical to us, to make sure that it actually helps you build progress and the progress that's needed to take your children forward to Year 7. We've also got Natasha with us today. So Natasha is one of our international designers on the team, and she's one of the people who make our resources look so beautiful. So she's been particularly involved with our Sparks resources, but as well our sort of other lift off and in orbit ones. And she has been amazing in helping us shape the look of the scheme, as well as our other designers, to really make it as engaging as possible. With bilingual children herself, she is really aware of how children need vibrant visuals to help them learn a language. So she's really aware of the importance of what we're doing and how to present the two languages. So that's been really helpful to bring to that. I may well call upon the people who are here at some point during this to come and have a chat, or to say various bits and pieces. Or if you've got any questions for them, please do feel free to pop it in the chat. But Helen's shared with you our Meet the Team blog, which has not got very flattering pictures on it. I like to think that we're all a lot better looking in real life, but you can find out a bit more about us, what our favourite aspects of the scheme, and what the individual skills that we have brought to the scheme, because we've got a huge expertise ranging from Key Stage 2 to Key Stage 5 in terms of our teaching expertise in England, Wales, Scotland, internationally, you know, and then from a design perspective, designers bringing in different facets and different ideas. So we've got an awful lot of people who've brought loads into this as well. Those of you who've been to many of our Teach Meets before will also have met Pete many times, and Pete's written this blog, and you'll be able to tell from the tone of voice from having met him at our Teach Meets that it is Pete. We're less impressed with Pete's artistic skills and the pictures of us, but it is really nice to read about us and to find out a little bit more about the scheme. Okay, so enough of me waffling about all of that, and more about actually what you can expect and actually what it is. So before you even do that, how do you find it? I've shared the link in the chat for you, but here it is again to find the actual scheme. If you're looking for it on the Twinkl website, there are various ways that you can find it. So just wanted to kind of put that out there first of all. So you can actually find it by, on this PowerPoint, you'll get this sent through to you as a PDF. If you click on the actual Lightning Languages icon and all of the PowerPoints, it will take you to the landing page. But you can also find it by typing in that address. And it will take you to our main page for French and Spanish. You can select French or Spanish, and then it will give you all of the units broken down for the different age groups. Another way to find it is if you search under curriculum planning. Many of you will be familiar with Planet. So the old Planet, as it was for Planet French and Planet Spanish, is our kind of legacy content that moving forward we are not updating, but it is there obviously as a linear progressive scheme of work which offers comprehensive planning throughout year 3 to year 6. And then alongside that, we have our brand new Lightning Languages, which offers a modular and flexible approach, quite a different approach to the pedagogy behind language learning. And you can find that by going to our Planet curriculum. So Planet curriculum, you will find as part of that all the older legacy Planet content, but also the newer schemes across all subjects for all the new curriculum schemes at Twinkl. You can also find us by just searching on the top menu and clicking on Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2 if you're navigating from England, and getting to the main languages menu, and you'll find buttons there to take you to Lightning Languages. Hopefully soon we'll have a feature that you can actually type in Lightning Languages into the Twinkl search bar and it will take you to the page, and that will hopefully be with us shortly, which will hopefully make navigation a little bit easier. But those are various ways of finding the scheme. And then when you actually get there, talk a little bit about it, and a bit about the background. So as I said, we were really concerned that we know from language trends reports, from talking to teachers, from these TeachMeets, from our Facebook groups, how many of you are not language specialists, how many of you are TAs or HLTAs teaching a language, and how many of you have not got very much time, whether that's less than half an hour a week, whether it's half an hour every other week, or whether it's just half a term every now and again, or every other half term. The language teaching timetable varies significantly from school to school. And many of you, as well as that problem, also teach mixed age classes. Many of you were struggling to fit the Planet curriculum into 4 years based on your own circumstances. And as well as all of that, we've got teachers in England, Wales, Scotland, and the Republic of Ireland covering their own language curricula, and not wanting to see the national curriculum being referred to as the only curriculum when they in fact also have their own national curriculum. So these were all factors that we took into account as we were building the scheme together, and these were things that we spent a long time thinking about because they were very important to us. And eventually we've come up with this wonderful scheme called Lightning Languages. And the idea behind this is that you can whiz through the lessons in terms of the fact that they should last you no more than half an hour. They're based on the fact that our core PowerPoint lessons are half an hour long. So you can speed through those. They're also designed for absolute straightforward teaching, which means that you don't have to be staring at a lesson plan as you're delivering them. You should be able to launch the PowerPoint and work through the PowerPoint with your class without needing to kind of read the lesson plan and say what's coming next. We've designed the instructions and every aspect in a user-friendly way so that the lesson plans are guides rather than essential to the delivery of the lesson, if that makes sense. Obviously, they're really useful in terms of what's going to be in the lesson and what's covered and which aspects of the curriculum you're ticking off, etc. But in terms of the actual delivery, we wanted it to be as seamless as possible and as easy for you in the classroom. We also wanted to make sure that the 3 pillars of vocabulary, phonics, and grammar are embedded throughout the scheme. So you will find these in every single unit, will help you make progress in the 3 pillars. We also believe really strongly in the importance of cultural capital in language learning. And we've also made sure that cultural capital is a facet of every single unit. So we really wanted to make sure that this was a kind of fundamental package that we offered this, that every lesson could offer this. We also wanted to make sure that every unit offers support for non-specialist teachers. And we do that with our sound files, with our videos, and with our innovative Go guides, which you will find linked to lesson plans and to lessons, which if a grammar point or a new language point is introduced, we've got a quick how to use a guide that you can click on that will give you some new information and help you understand what that grammar point is. We've also got accompanying CPD to go with it. So key areas behind the pedagogy of the scheme, we've got CPD to help you cover that. Short videos of around 10 minutes covering how to support stretch and challenge for greater depth, adaptive and inclusive teaching, modelling and scaffolding, how to teach under 7s, for example. All of those things we've kind of taken into account. We also wanted you to be in a position that if you have an hour a week of languages, you can teach Lightning Languages. If you have half an hour a week of languages, you can still teach Lightning Languages and you can still make substantial progress. And that's kind of what I want to explain, how we're going to get to that point and what this scheme offers. So the first thing that we have at our kind of main, I say main, it's the kind of core area in terms of the majority of schemes, you know, such as the English National Curriculum, would have compulsory language learning from the equivalent of year 3 onwards. So our main progressive levels are for ages 7 to 9, which effectively would be years 3 and 4, which is liftoff. And then we have in orbit for ages 9 to 11, the equivalent of years 5 and 6, which is in orbit. And we have these two are our progressive levels for this age. And within all of these, we have the same fundamental goal, which is through recap and repetition, children will retain and use a core set of vocabulary and key sentence structures. Because the curriculum is designed to use flexibly, each unit builds in progression within that unit. So we build in complexity and progression from the very first lesson, from noun and determiner to phrase and sentence level, and then to asking and answering questions, so that children can actually make progress within a unit. This means that they're developing practical communication skills in every single unit. And that's the best thing about this, is that you're then flexible to kind of pick and choose and have a look which, you know, suits you the most. The idea is that the in-orbit units contain a little bit more challenge than the liftoff units in terms of some exercises and some styles of tasks, such as translation or dictation, that will help prepare them for secondary learning and what goes on with a secondary curriculum. We will also have an increased focus on target language, with support for teachers on how to include target language with those, and a little bit more challenge embedded within as well, to allow you that scope to move children on from the liftoff to kind of take them on. Plus, liftoff covers the more kind of introductory units such as colours, pets, numbers, home, school, whereas in orbit has a slightly deeper focus, things like TV and film, environment, or, you know, just looking at things in perhaps a little bit of a wider context to look at a slightly broader set of language. Either way, we're super proud of these. I want you to have a look at, you know, what's actually within a unit. So every single unit at liftoff and in orbit has got within it 3 to 4 core PowerPoints. These core PowerPoints last around half an hour if delivered fully from start to finish. We've kind of factored in all of the exercises within that to aiming for 30 minutes. If you have limited curriculum time and you are under pressure, you can deliver that unit in 3 or 4 30-minute sessions. If you have longer, you can actually add in a range of our additional resources to actually build a larger curriculum as part of that. We have an activity booklet. So the activity booklet is not essential to the delivery of the PowerPoint. It's supplementary to that, but it obviously supports what goes on in the PowerPoint. You can choose to print that out for every pupil, or you can choose not to and just refer to it yourself and use some of those exercises. So you can, if you want, build together a longer lesson that uses the 30-minute PowerPoint alongside the booklet, or you can choose to use the booklet separately, to revisit it at a later date, or to completely ignore it at this point. The flexibility is there for you. We've also got our fantastic sentence building pack, which we're really proud about. And Maz, if at any point you want to chip in with anything on sentence building, please do, because Maz has been so important in the pedagogy behind this. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there's anything you do want to say about sentence building, please do join in. But our sentence building pack, the aim of which is to help children build sentences with the languages from the unit. So it's not a compulsory lesson. You've got the core PowerPoints, but you can then build an extra lesson onto it with the sentence building PowerPoint, which revisits the language from the PowerPoint and allows you to build sentences with that. We've then got sentence building help sheets and worksheets and different exercises to help work through that. Maz?
I was just going to chip in just because you'd invited me to, and I thought it would look a bit weird if I didn't. But I think like the kind of thought process behind the sentence building resources was from the fact that I used to get really frustrated with children just kind of reeling off sentences that they'd learned, but not really understanding what that sentence meant or how to chop and change it in order to say something else. And it's almost like that rote learning thing that you often get if your timetable is really packed and you're under pressure. But actually, the whole point of our sentence building resources is to teach children those skills to be able to say, okay, I can say this sentence, but what if I swap that word around? How many more options does that give me? So it's all to do with kind of developing communicators rather than just children that can regurgitate, rote learn lists of words or specific sentences, so that they build their confidence, so that if they can say one particular sentence, how could they just change a noun for another noun, and how many more options can it give them? And then building on using bilingual dictionaries or lists of vocabulary to be able to kind of open their scope for how many different other words and sentences they can say. And that's how we build good communicators. We've talked with Lindsay, haven't we, about the children who for their GCSEs rote learn whole spiels of text, but actually if they can't use that when they go off to communicate with somebody in another country, or when they meet a native speaker, then it's almost pointless learning, isn't it, if they can't use it to actually communicate, which is the aim of our scheme. So hopefully building in those skills to be able to do that. And that was sort of the aim that we had when we put it all together.
Yeah, no, I very much said to Maz, I would like some sentence building in the scheme, and Maz has gone away and put together this absolutely amazing offering of how this can work. And I think it also is very much our emphasis on quality, not quantity. So as Maz said, we don't want children rote learning sentences and sentences and sentences. We would define progress by being able to manipulate 2 or 3 sentences really well, rather than being able to rote learn 15 sentences and not really understanding their learning. So that's why you can make progress within a unit, and that's why we can offer flexibility across the scheme, because we can keep building on that progress and adding to it. So it's the sentence building is really instrumental to the progress within the scheme. Really, it's a really fantastic way to increase that language. It's also something you can use in different ways. You can use it as a retrieval tool to come back to at a later date. You can choose how you factor that in. You may choose to deliver the lessons and then deliver the sentence building as a 4th lesson if you have the time. Or you may choose, if you already have, this is our colours unit for resources, you already may have a colours unit that works well for you. You could then move on to our sentence building pack to supplement that. That was the idea behind it, is that it gives you the flexibility to do that within your team, within your school, within your classroom, and decide what works best for you. As well as the sentence building pack and the activity pack, we've also got a range of interactive games. We've got things like sentence scramble or spot the mistake games. There's a retrieval quiz, a culture quiz, all of those which can be used independently. Everything is available. If you're logged into Lightning Languages, you'll be able to access any of these resources. You can use these for home learning, for small group work within the class. You could put them on the whiteboard and do them all together. They're great for all sorts of different circumstances, or even if you just want to have a lesson that's just focusing on, some French sentence building and then some interactive games to kind of build up on that, are all absolutely brilliant. As well as that, every unit comes with a 3 pillars video and a culture video. We're really worked hard to ensure that phonics, vocabulary and grammar are integral to the scheme from the get-go. And the 3 pillars videos can be used in different ways. Again, they're great for flipped classroom approach. They're great for home learning. They're great to just watch in class to start the unit off, or to recap the unit before you move on and play some retrieval activities. They're there for you to access. The lessons, the videos themselves are, between 5 and 7 minutes. So they're really accessible within a lesson. They're really engaging. They're delivered targeting children of this age, and it gives them a chance to practice all of the aspects that they've come across in the lesson, chance to pause and rewind, to think and to go over those sorts of things. We've also got a culture video. So every unit has a cultural focus. Colours, for example, lends itself really nicely to focusing on art. So you will find an exploration, a kind of a little step into art in the French-speaking world or Spanish-speaking world, and there's a culture video on that, and then a culture quiz to follow up. So you could, even if you wanted to, keep those completely separate and just access the culture videos. They're there to, help you add cultural capital seamlessly into your scheme, into everything that you do. So, they're really great for you, to help you really build together this whole picture. And we've got another CPD TeachMeet coming up towards the end of September, where I'm actually going to look at how you can build a curriculum with lightning languages. So how we would suggest you put it all together and what you do. But fundamentally, we believe that 3 or 4 units across a year is likely to be sufficient to meet the curriculum aims enough times to help your children make substantial progress. So that's what we would be aiming to. We will obviously give suggestions for each unit as to which one comes well. Like colours, for example, is a really good one to start with because it doesn't require any other knowledge. When we come on to other units, we'll say, oh, this would be useful if you've already studied this first, for example. And it gives you the opportunity to slot it in alongside other aspects in the curriculum that suit you. So if you are doing a topic on art, then it might be really nice to do this one alongside it at the same time, and then you can kind of build it in and look at the progress alongside it, and it's really helpful. Children are describing artwork, you can bring in artwork from the actual topic that you're studying in class as well and look at it that way. So it gives you complete flexibility and control. We also feel very strongly, because there's always been such a focus on quantity of vocabulary, and with the sentence building approach and all of the different aspects of how our scheme builds together, we want you to have that flexibility and that choice. So it doesn't matter if you don't teach, if we're learning about food and you only teach the children 10 items of food, they don't need to learn all 50 items, because if they have the skills to access more items of food, then they can still build the sentences with that. So we really don't want to focus on quantity but quality, and how we build sentences with that. And then you've got the flexibility to slot and choose which of these is going to best suit you at which time in the year group. Of course, as the scheme develops, we will be putting out different pathway suggestions for how you can make this work for different year groups at different times and what we would suggest. But we really wanted to give you that flexibility to enable you to put together what works for you, given how much time you've had. But the PowerPoints alone will allow you to meet the curriculum expectations for Wales, Scotland, England, and the Republic of Ireland by just delivering the core PowerPoints. Obviously, to further develop the aspects of the curriculum and the expectations and to keep reinforcing them, all of the different activities such as the ebooks, etc., will help you build on that. And then you can take that over 6 weeks or over 3, however works for you. So as I've said, there'll be 3 core PowerPoints. These are the ones that give you the learning. We've also made sure that they're all really accessible. We haven't wanted to call anything specific year groups, because we want them to be accessible, because you may choose that you want to deliver these in year 6. You may choose to deliver them at a different point in the year, and we want you to have complete flexibility to do that. We've targeted them at ages 7 to 9, but in terms of the visuals and what's there, they also work well for older primary learners too, wherever it best suits you. And as I've said, these PowerPoints cover the minimum curriculum expectations within them, which means that you can feel confident that you are meeting the scheme requirements whilst also not exhausting yourself, which I think is perhaps the most important thing. We wanted to take the hard work and the stress out of it. We want you to have confidence to know that you can teach French or Spanish quickly without having to spend hours and hours on it, ensure your children make progress and enjoy it without making it into this insurmountable challenge. That was the most important thing for us. And then within this, as I said, you've got a range of the activities at liftoff and in orbit, the 2 levels that are there, and it just gives you a chance for putting this all together and choosing and suiting what works best for you. At the moment, we only have liftoff units on site. In orbits will be coming soon. We are working to get these out as quickly as possible, but as it's a modular scheme and you are flexible to deliver whenever, it does mean that you can deliver liftoff units for the equivalent of year 5 and 6 if you choose to. So as I said, you've got a massive range of obviously resources within all of this. You've got the activity booklets that you'll find within that. As I've said, these are really great resources. We absolutely love these activity booklets. They work brilliantly independently and they work really well to accompany the schemes. As I've said, you've got a 3 pillars video and a culture video, which is delivered, by really engaging presenters to just give a different voice in the classroom, which is really helpful. We've got a range of interactive games, which give you the chance to practice everything in a bit more detail. Every lift-off unit has got an ebook with audio, which helps you cover the cultural aspect of leading songs, stories, poems, and rhymes. They're lovely ebooks which have got English narration and then with characters speaking in French or Spanish in easy to understand and follow language that's great for listening and repetition. And obviously our sound files where required will also obviously be in our interactive games as well. The sentence building pack, which we talked about, we've actually got a full TeachMeet on sentence building later on, where this is in October, where we'll actually go into the pedagogy behind this, why we believe really strongly that this is an integral part of the scheme, how you can use it, and what we feel is important about this. At Lifts Off, it's a sentence building pack. At In Orbit, it's a sentence building and challenge pack, where we've built in a little bit of extra grammatical or linguistic challenge into it as well for you. And then we're also really proud of our planning packs. So there's a teacher pack for every single unit, and you're going to find an awful lot within this teacher pack. It's very, very different. For those of you who've used Planet, you will have found a very detailed lesson plan for every single lesson. We wanted to offer a very different approach to Lightning Languages. So the individual lessons will obviously be covered within this pack, and you will obviously have your unit aims, what's included within the unit, the core vocabulary, and the structures that are needed for sentence building. You will also find an explanation of what happens in every lesson, links to where the unit could be taught, how it fits in, and any suggested previous learning that we think would be useful. We also have really detailed sections on adaptive teaching and stretch and challenge, with ideas on how you can extend the unit and ideas on how you can support the unit. And there is also a set of adaptive teaching resources within every single teacher pack, and that includes sentence starter cards, a knowledge organizer, and flashcards, which are really useful for helping. Well, you can use these however you want. They may be useful as support tools, as visual aids. You may want them for everybody, or just for a few pupils, or even for yourself or for a TA in your class. They're really, really useful. We also include within the teacher pack an assessment grid that allows you to check off the aims that pupils are meeting within the scheme. We've also got an assessment test within there as well. I say traditional, for want of a better word, but a printable assessment test that you can use for an end of unit assessment test if you would like. We also have, this we're really proud of, a curriculum links grid for England, Wales, Scotland, and the Republic of Ireland draft curriculum that will show you which of our resources meet which aspect of the curriculum. And that helps you with your planning and showing you exactly what's covered and what's there. So we feel it's a really comprehensive teacher pack. There's an awful lot there to download and actually look at, but it gives you a fantastic support as you're going alongside it. The important thing is it gives you all of the background that you need for your planning folders, for anything that you might need in terms of inspections or anything internally, or any observations or anything like that. But fundamentally, the lessons are straightforward to deliver. You don't need to look at it thinking, oh, what have I got to do on this PowerPoint? They're absolutely seamless and they're really straightforward. We've worked really, really hard as a team to make sure that this is the case. We've also then got our Sparks unit, which these are absolutely wonderful and they give a really fantastic addition to the scheme. They are designed to spark an early love of language learning. So they are not pre-teaching anything from Liftoff and In Orbit. You don't need to use them. You could just access the Sparks, or you could use them to prepare your children. There is a massive focus on communication, games, and having fun in these. There are songs, there are games, there are activities, there are going around the classroom and repeating things. There are all sorts of things. They can be used in any setting. So we've called it an adult pack because you could use these for home education, you could use these in a nursery, you could use these, you know, with your year ones or year twos. It's absolutely up to you. You could, even if you chose, use this for older learners, particularly in a curriculum where you want to introduce another language. You could actually use this as a really fun way. You could even have language ambassadors from year 5 or 6 going back and delivering the Sparks to younger pupils. Now, Sparks is absolutely lovely, but it's a really straightforward approach to language learning for younger learners. We are targeting under 7s with these resources, and they are very short, accessible, user-friendly PowerPoints aiming to last around 15 minutes. So to really help with attention span at this age, they're 15-minute PowerPoints in French and Spanish. There are 3 in each unit, and they have wonderful songs within them. So there's a lovely catchy song practicing the words. We're only introducing very few words each time to enable children to really, you know, get into that. The focus on this is on communication. It's on learning a little bit about the language, you know, and just getting a bit more confident. So they're on very simple topics such as greetings, what's your name, how are you, those sorts of things. We've got other units coming soon as well, such as cute ones on mini beasts and various things like that. So popular topics that tend to be taught with younger age groups. They are perfect for younger learners, but they do work really well for older learners too, because they are really cute. We're all huge fans in the team. So within every unit, there's also an activity booklet, again, with a heavy focus on kind of communication within that and kind of fun activities that really suit that age group. We've got lovely ebooks with audio for every unit, again with narration, which is absolutely lovely. And then we've got some lovely interactive activities as well, such as colouring or different kind of matching activities that are perfect to help practice. Again, you know, 15 minutes a week, as I said, you know, and you'll be able to do this and fit these in. So if you are really pushed for time, and even half an hour with lift off and in orbit is going to be a challenge, then looking at these Sparks units will help you to introduce languages in a fun way in your setting, certainly for some of your younger learners. You'll also find a really great adult pack that has within it knowledge organizer and flashcards as well to support you, and ideas for how to actually help deliver the lesson. But again, as with Lift Off in Orbit, we want them to be simple to deliver, that you don't have to go rooting through lesson plans to work out, oh, what on earth do I do on slide 7? The idea is you can click play and you can go and you can deliver it. They are great fun, and they're just absolutely wonderful lessons. We're really, really proud of these. They're really fun, and we really think that younger learners will get an awful lot of value from these. And I think even in a school where languages are not taught at a younger age, they can be great for a languages club. They're absolutely brilliant to start with the younger learners. They're even brilliant for European Day of Languages, for starting off, you know, doing a few greetings in a different language. So if you teach French, then looking at the Spanish Sparks and maybe going on from there. They're all absolutely lovely and really enjoyable resources to use. So I just want to introduce you to our characters as well, because they're really integral to the scheme, and we are delighted with the characters because they really bring everything to life. So we've got here Pop, Choc, Fleck and Lilu, and these are our language Sparks. So they are a curious and friendly bunch of explorers. They love unraveling the mysteries of languages, and they absolutely love communication games and songs and pronunciation races and all sorts of things like that. So they're really fantastic characters, and they appear in all of the stories and in all of the PowerPoints, and they bring a really wonderful dimension to the scheme. You also come across our older characters for Lift Off and in Orbit, the Lightning Languages crew, who are humanoid children from a distant planet. And they have their favorite, my personal favorite character is their trusty dog, Umi. So from left to right, we've got Astro, Sol, Luna, and Nova. And then they've got their trusty dog, Umi, who is secretly the brains of the bunch. But they come from a distant planet, and the backstory behind them is that they're on missions. So every PowerPoint is a mission to learn something about the language, and the Lightning Languages crew are on a mission to learn about the secret codes that humans speak. In other words, these secret codes are languages. So that's the mission, and If you'd like to learn more about those, our introductory guide will give you a little bit more about them. We've also got a couple of blogs coming shortly telling you a little bit more about our characters, but they bring a wonderful dimension to the scheme. They're really vibrant characters. They're really engaging. We did a lot of research into how they could look and who they were and what they were, and we're really, really proud of the look and how this all works. We think it's a wonderful, wonderful scheme, and we're all extremely proud of it. And the team and those who I've introduced you to today, I've seen Peter's joined us as well, who's here as well, are all, we're all really proud of this, and we all feel, really strongly that there's, just a great opportunity with this scheme to kind of, really take it somewhere that we didn't with Planet, because it was a linear progressive scheme that started and finished. This is far more open-ended and allows you to build your own curriculum. So, really, really excited about it. So I'm going to share a couple more bits and pieces with you. If anybody's got any questions, please do pop them in the chat. Myself or my team members would absolutely love to answer them and to share as much with you as I can. I've got a couple of things to share with you. Then I'm going to talk through a little bit about what to expect, about what's coming next, and what you can find in the scheme. But please do pop any questions in the chat, and we'll answer them and do our best to help with those. So the first thing, I've mentioned this already, the links will be in here. You've got the free introductory guide. This gives you an introduction to Sparks and an introduction to Lightning languages. It gives you a lot more detail than I've been into in this session, explaining what's in every unit, what you can find, what's there, a little bit of the pedagogy behind it, and what we hope you to achieve with that. And those are really lovely resources. They make nice posters as well, to be honest, because they're so attractive. But they've got the characters in there, and it tells you a little bit more about them. We've got a free French taster pack, and these are brilliant. I would really recommend that you go away and have a look at our taster packs. There should be the link. The links are all in the reflections packs, I think, or the links are also in. When you get sent the PowerPoint, the links will be there, or you can find the taster pack straight from the website at the main page, which is, I'll share that again. Taster packs are there at the top of each French and Spanish page. You'll find the taster packs. The French taster pack, you'll find in there a lift-off PowerPoint, a Sparks PowerPoint, a selection of additional resources, really to give you a flavour of the scheme so you can see what you can expect. We've also obviously got a Spanish taster pack similarly, with a Sparks and a lift-off PowerPoint, and a real selection to give you a chance again to find out a lot more about what the scheme offers. Our languages progression map, we have 4 versions of this, one for Scotland, one for Wales, one for England, one for the Republic of Ireland, which talks about the progression in line with the curriculum expectations and how, over a period of time that you are teaching languages, this scheme will take you to that endpoint and how you can get there and what our scheme offers. So that's our really detailed planning document that offers you, the real backstory to the scheme and how that progression is there and how you can use that for your own planning and, any planning for any inspections or observations, etc., and how you can actually understand the rationale behind what we're making. I also wanted to just remind you about the rest of our TeachMeets. So we've got a whole program up for the year, but I just wanted to flag the next few that are coming up. So the 23rd of September, we've got Building a Flexible Curriculum with Lightning Languages. This one is on actually putting together. This was very much our kind of launch where I just wanted to introduce you and show you the scheme and showcase it a bit and just say, this is now here, please, go away and have a look at it. In the next session, I want to actually look with you at how you put together a 6-week plan, a half-term plan with Lightning Languages, how you could put that together, and the progression routes that you could choose to take to deliver it to mixed age classes, etc., or to standard year classes, how you're going to work with that. So that's coming up on the 23rd. If you can't come live, do sign up because you will get sent the recording. And obviously I want to go through that with you in terms of how you actually build your curriculum and put your languages timetable together. Then in October, we've got sentence building, which Maz and I will be talking to you about the importance of sentence building, why it's integral to our scheme and why we believe really strongly in this and how this will develop our language learners. And then sort of coming up later on, we've got greater depth. So how Lightning Languages will support you in supporting greater depth and stretch and challenge, how we will look at introduce languages for under sevens, supporting a range of different needs, etc. And, as well as then moving on to other subjects. But certainly, our first few this year, we all want to focus on lightning languages and how we can support you with that. So, that's really important. But please, if you do have any questions, please do pop them in the chat. There's a feedback form that Helen is sharing with you now. In this feedback form, we've also got a couple of questions about lightning languages, and one of those is about lightning languages ambassadors. So this is something we've not done before in the languages team, but I would absolutely love it if we could have some people who would really love to come forward for this and actually act as ambassadors for us for lightning languages. By that, I mean willing to share some content on social media, some pictures of your board or some pictures of classwork, covered over pictures of children learning, for example, anything that you feel able to share. In return for that, we'd be able to offer free Twinkl membership for the length of time that you were an ambassador. So we would support you in your delivery of that. We would also come to you with kind of sneak peeks, ask you to maybe test out some resources for us, and you would kind of be our classroom reps really for lightning languages. So if that's something that interests you and you'd be interested in supporting with that, it would be wonderful. So please do fill it in. There's a question on the Google form there that Helen's put in the chat. Please do fill it in and I'll get in touch with you. And obviously look at how we could make that work. But we'd absolutely love to have some social media ambassadors to really promote lightning languages and really go forward with that. So if you think that's something that you or your school might be interested in, then do let us know. But that's it from me for now. As I've said, please look ahead to our next TeachMeet, particularly building a flexible curriculum with lightning languages, where we're going to look at actually putting together a structure with this scheme and how it's actually there. But I would really encourage you, whatever stage you're at in your teaching and planning at the moment, to go ahead and look at the scheme. I completely appreciate that it's very difficult to switch to a new scheme in September when you've got existing plans. However, lightning languages is so flexible that you can use it to supplement existing resources. You can just pick and choose a unit and drop it in and substitute for something else. So it does give you that flexibility. In terms of what you can expect to see coming soon, we are going to be adding units constantly. The next units that you'll be seeing for Liftoff will be introductions and skills units, introductions units, which will be coming soon, which give you the basics to language learning. Those are really lovely units. They'll be coming soon for French and Spanish at Liftoff. We'll also be having more French Sparks units coming soon. What's Your Name will be the next one to be coming on site. And for In Orbit, you'll be seeing TV and film units coming soon, which will be the first ones there. So if you'd like to be notified of any forthcoming units, if you go to the website and you look at any of the units that you're interested in, we have got G forms and you can actually add in on there if you've got any interest, that we can get in touch when they're ready. But please, if you have any questions, please do pop them in the chat for myself or any of the team. I'd like to say a massive thank you for the team for coming along today. As I said, it has been the most enormous team effort to put this together, and I am so incredibly proud of what we've achieved. It looks wonderful and it really offers a really, really strong pedagogy and education in languages through primary school to prepare your children for year 7, to help them make progress with a language, but also to love a language. We really want to inspire them. We're all really passionate about languages, and we really hope that that's come across in the resources that we've made, because we've enjoyed making these so much, and it's something that we all absolutely love. So a huge thank you to everyone for coming on this afternoon. I'll stay on the call if anyone didn't want to put anything on the chat but wants to stay along and ask some questions. Otherwise, I wish you all a great rest of the week and hope to see you at our next TeachMeet.